This is exciting. I'm sitting here kicking back in my studio, just lounging, just getting some work done. I was actually filming some videos just now, a minute ago, some core tutorials. I have
Nice.
renewed focus on just kind of making sure that I'm sharing more of my expertise for free, in hopes that that reaches the right people. And me and you talked about my Patreon and stuff like that. Like that's something that I'm just putting a lot of focus and attention on. But my man Brandon hit me up this morning. I'm extremely excited to talk a little bit about what you messaged me about. So please, like, tee it off for everyone.
All right. So now, now I was this close to buying the TX-6 by Teenage Engineering.
Hmm.
Um, it's close, and the thing that kind of put me off is, of course, the most obvious reason is the price, right?
Hmm.
I'm trying to justify the use of it and the price.
Sure.
The second thing that put me off was the announcement of the new TP. Was it TP-7?
Right.
Now that's a very interesting machine because of the field recording capabilities, right? The
Mm.
technology has caught up with the time,
Mm.
according to Teenage Engineering, right? So with that being said, now I'm in a pickle, man. I'm trying to figure out if I actually need the TX6 or if I want to go with the TP7. Now I gotta
Hmm.
spend my investment wisely because I'm only gonna get one. I'm
Hmm.
not buying both.
Sure. Sure.
Pros and cons would be, TX6 is exactly what I would need as far as multiple inputs, um, audio interface, plug and play straight into the iPad, which is exactly what I would use it for.
Hmm.
Only on the go.
Hmm.
I have mixers and audio interfaces for stationary work purposes, but
Right.
for on the go, that form factor is the top of the line, most convenient form factor with the most to offer as far as features,
Word. Yeah.
right? Um, and so when you talk about justifying the price, everything that I just mentioned kind of pays for itself.
Right.
So with the addition of the now the Holy Trinity, you have the CM15, the TX6, and the TP7. It's like, yo, I don't know where to go anymore. And
Hmm.
that's a great problem for them to have because I
Yeah.
want all of them, right?
Sure. Sure.
Um, so yeah, just now looking at the features of the TP7, I'm just kind of in a pickle, man, because now learning that is now serving as not only a field recorder, which is something that is also extremely useful to me because before I was using my cell phone for a lot, like I'm dual purpose in a lot of this stuff, right?
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
would use my cell phone or even the iPad. But
Right.
as far as like field recording or even a microphone, that kills two birds with one stone.
Right.
A lot of times I pull my phone out and I'm distracted. I forget exactly what it was that I was trying to record.
Right.
I see a notification. I'm like, oh, let me check that real quick, or let me
Right.
respond to this text real quick, or oh yeah, such and such just dropped a new VST, or you know what I
Yeah.
mean, like.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get away from, and that was one of the reasons why I didn't go with the Wi-Fi, the cellular version on my iPad Mini, because I don't want, if I'm not connected to the internet, I
Yeah.
don't want to unintentionally be
Sure.
connected to the internet.
A
So
great point.
um,
Wait, so what
yeah,
kind of stuff
just
would you use your phone for when you mentioned like film recording? Like you're talking about maybe being out and about and having like a musical idea that you just
yeah,
like that
all the
type of thing.
time I hear sounds all
Hmm.
the time. So in my I did a beat tape. Um I did a beat tape called Riff Journals. And a
Mm,
lot of those abstract sounds that you hear in those beats are from my iPhone 6,
mm,
my
gotcha.
iPhone 6S from like
Gotcha.
2017.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So I recorded those sounds and I've, EQ'd them or, whatever. And then with that, there was a microphone that I purchased from Shure. It was the Shure MV88, I believe.
Hmm.
And so I started using that for more professional out in the field
Mm,
recording opportunities.
gotcha.
And so that was another device that I had to carry around with me or make sure that I had with me or um,
Gotcha.
you know granted it didn't need to be charged or anything like that. It was plug and play with the iPhone, and it was a condenser microphone that was professionally um, designed, uh, extremely convenient, extremely portable, but it was another device um, connected to my phone. It was just now it's two different things that I'm
Sure.
unintentionally having to interact with, that
Sure.
it's not a dedicated device. That
I got a
and it
question.
and then it only did one thing. So yeah.
Sure, 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 sure. I got a question. I mean, the reason I was so excited about your message to me this morning is because I was it made me think about how the stuff that I'm doing with the TX-6 right now, it's very I'm only using it like maybe, I don't know, 20% of the things that you can do with it. I'm
And
not
see,
using the
that was
knobs that
one.
much. I'm not doing all that type of stuff. I'm not using it as a MIDI
Yeah.
controller. And so when you mentioned what you shared about, like, yo, the TP-7, you could plug and play just like you mentioned before with USB-C, just with your iPad, and you have less. I believe you have three in slash outputs on it right up top versus
Yeah.
six. I'm
Yep.
usually using one or
One
two
at a
on
time.
the, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yep.
I'm not
Two
using
at a
all of
time.
them currently. Um, and this thing, I'm looking at the TX6 because I was just using it just now. This thing has now the ability to plug in a USB-C
I
up top
saw that too. I
to
saw that.
record.
Yep.
So that's a big deal. But it's also like you just described, having an additional thing that you need to plug in order to record it. Like if
Yep.
this thing had like 20 gig, and I'm sure they didn't put this in because they knew what's coming out afterwards. But if
Oh
this
yeah.
had some storage on it, it would make it just that little step of having, all right, I'm about to record right now. Like I was just making some content. I have to go in my bag. I have to get the micro USB C
Yep.
dongle and all this stuff.
Yep.
Um, I think it's very intriguing. I mean, I've watched. I mentioned to you that I've held. Yo, Keys Collab, what's going on, bro? How are you? I
What's
mentioned
going
to you
on,
that I've
man?
held the TP-7 in my clutches before, right? I've
Yeah.
used, yeah, just a little bit, right? And like watching these videos now of like the dial and the
That
job and
alone
the,
is
what do you
is
call
very that's very attractive.
it,
Not even gonna
bro?
lie to you. That
That is
magnetic
the
dial,
that is the
and
word,
seeing
man.
it on your videos on the OB, what is the
Four, yes,
OB4,
yep, yep, yep.
man. So just the technology, the nostalgia. We talked about this in another video, but the nostalgia connected to it, from the original Talk Boy, having the Home Alone, uh, Home Alone vibes. You know what I mean? Like being able to
It's
play, and like
really,
you said, even being able to play back things that our kids say, or
yeah, yeah.
funny moments, or and that was the whole reason of me buying. um and if we're talking gear, let's parallel it to cameras. i
Mm,
bought the i bought the Osmo Pocket for that same reason.
mm.
I'm sorry, did I freeze?
A little bit, but yeah, I think I can hear you again, but your screen's black.
Crap, hold on, because I
Sure,
just
sure.
got a call.
Mm-hmm. No problem. All good.
How do I crap, what can go wrong will go wrong, right?
Always. Maybe I should turn off. Well, I'll know for the future. Maybe turn off on do not disturb mode because I can get a call any second now too.
Yeah, maybe I should do that. Personal. All right, so yeah, I don't know how to fix this.
Can you? What can you see? Can you see me?
I can see you. Yeah, I can see you, and then I can see my face.
Oh,
So
you can see both. Okay, so I just
yeah,
can't see you. So it's something that's
yeah, my
pretty
face
weird.
is frozen.
Oh, your face is for okay, okay, okay. That's
Yeah.
weird. Let's see. I'm sure it's if it's frozen on your end, then I'm sure it's on the viewer's end as well. I don't know. Oh,
Mm.
maybe I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, but maybe the top button to like rotate your camera and then rotate it back. What would that do? Could you rotate your camera and see?
Cannot. Wait. What do you mean?
Is there like a button on your screen to like rotate? Like I just did like the
No. Yeah. Yeah. It's grayed out for me now.
interesting. Yeah,
My
yeah.
bad. Yeah, I
No,
should have
you're
did it.
good. You're good. Well, look, let's do this. Let's because we said we were gonna go just about 15 minutes anyway, so we can still talk. Everyone can still hear you. Um,
Okay.
so I mean, from a price point, I think if I'm not mistaken, actually, I don't even remember. Yeah, thanks, Keys Collab, for letting us know. Yep. So yeah, blacked out on your end, but you can still hear. Hopefully, let me know, Keys, in the chat. But Brandon, from a price perspective, I don't even remember how much the TX6 is. The TX6 like 1100 or
TX
something?
this TX6
Or
is
16?
1200.
1200. Okay. And then this
Yeah,
new one is like 16
that's
TP-7.
1600.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
So that's
And
like a
so
$400 price difference. Understandably, right? Because it can do more. I mean, it can.
yeah,
I don't.
more
I wouldn't even
moving
say more
parts,
stuff.
more.
Go ahead.
It's just it's a lot. I would yeah, I wouldn't say a lot more stuff. It's just different features that
Different.
serve a different purpose, right?
Totally.
And with the TX6 being able to record to USB, that's cool and all, but that's not how it'll work anyway, right?
Sure. Who wants to have that
So
USB sticking out versus?
well,
I mean,
I would love that if I don't have my iPad on me,
sure. Okay.
but
Okay.
nine times out of ten, I'm looking for an interface to get direct input from my OP1
Right.
into the iPad because the
Gotcha.
iPad is where I manipulate everything. The iPad is where I send everything out.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
and so that in turn work for obviously for storage as well.
Very
Um,
true. And I think
so
when it comes to say you and I are together and having like some type of a jam session or collab session and we bring in like a I don't know, another instrumentalist, maybe a guitar player or something like that. Like the idea
yeah,
of having the TX6 to be able to bring in all of these sounds, and I haven't really done that yet, but I do see myself like, okay, that's something I would love to be able to do. To be able to say, guys, don't even worry about anything, just bring your instrument and bring yourself, and maybe someone's instrument is their voice, the using a microphone, maybe someone's the guitar or whatever it is. But I think that is very, very appealing, um, and
yeah,
it's going to be. And I think the other thing too, just like these little touches, right, with like the TP-7, the idea that you don't have to turn it on to start recording. Like for
yeah,
me, and I love what you said too about like, okay, yes, our phones can do some of these things, or they can do a lot of these things. They can even transcribe, like this app is going to be able to do. But there is something to having so much capabilities on your phone, coupled with so much potential for distraction, as you mentioned,
right,
where you may not need to even have your phone on you, while you're doing recording in this type of setting because you have the equipment that can do it all. So it's
yeah.
pretty appealing.
And that was my thing, even working with like on my other hardware and stuff like that. I got the Micro Freak and the
Mm,
Roland Phantom and even now the MPC keys and all that stuff too.
sure, sure,
Um, I got a whole rack set up and I'm usually going audio interface straight into my laptop or straight um, into my iPad anyway. So
right,
I'm using those things as the capture device
right,
to be able to later manipulate. Now, with the OP1 being able to capture exactly what I'm doing on board, that's been clutch for me because
yeah,
I'm doing 3 and 4 tracks at a time, and I can get my foundation and then leave and not feel like I didn't get it. I didn't get the best quality I
sure,
could have. Which is kind of taking the place so far, kind of taking the place of um, doing it on my phone. because
Hmm.
when I couldn't pull out my iPad, I would pull out my phone and try to do
Right.
it with Cubases or Roland Zen beats or anything like that, or even something like Beat Hawk, and try to create something to bounce later.
Right. Right.
Um,
I'll tell you this, man. If and then we're gonna wrap up. I just want to know from your end on. It's interesting to hear that how close you were to getting the six.
Man,
Um, like you said, this close for those of you, well, for everyone who can't see Brandon right now because we had a little technical issue. Said it was super close to getting it. So I want to know from your end, because I think we're talking, if I'm not mistaken, June-ish, like sometime in the summer, is when the 7 is coming out. Which way are you leaning towards at this point?
at this point, I think I'm gonna go with the TP-7.
Nice. The
Yeah, I
talk
think
boy.
and because of just because of that, the use case, how much I'd be able to get use out of it versus a whole mixer when it's literally when I'm on the go it's mostly just me and my solitude. I'm not looking to record a whole band or looking to record a whole and if I do need to record another musician, I'm we're not recording at the same time, so
Yeah,
those are,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like those are things I can just add to a loop or add to a recording. Um,
Right.
and so
Wait, so this is a obvious, maybe an obvious question. I'm thinking out loud for a second. So, okay, you have three inputs up top on the TP-7. You can connect anything to it,
yep,
and apparently you could record stuff onto the disc, onto tape, and you can get different wave files, right? So it won't necessarily mix them all down. You can get different wave files to
right.
then do what you want to do after. So I'm curious to think, and maybe this is an obvious question, but right now my most effective, nice Keys Collab says TP-7 is piquing my interest at the moment too, dude. It's really yeah, it's just cool to geek out about with people who are like this level of interested in something that's so cool, so technologically cool. But the main use case of my TX-6, you guys don't need to see my face anymore, as I'm using this is like is using this port up top USB-C to connect to my iPhone, right,
Uh,
with the Lightning, and then if I'm using my OPZ or if I'm using my OP1 or both or my iPad, they're either going to be in one or two of the ports up top, and I'm
yeah.
essentially just using this as a way, excuse me, to live stream or in this case, like create content. Right, I was
Right.
recording
Right.
everything vocal here, and then I was recording my video here, and then I mix them down together after. So my thoughts or questions, and shout out, we got 7 people up in here. That's pretty cool, man. Yo, Brandon, we're gonna keep this rolling. Like whenever there's something that we want to talk about, like we're probably not gonna talk on the phone that much anymore.
All
We're
right.
just
Cool.
gonna do this because it's just that much more, I think, fun and probably hopefully good for both of us with what we're working on.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
down with it.
for sure. But my thoughts are, if I wanted to do the same exact thing and not necessarily record it onto the TP-7, but I just wanted to send audio into the TP-7 and send it out, sort of monitor or whatever, however you want to think of it, out of here, I should be able to do that, right? What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on
yeah.
that?
And so, and that was my biggest thing because my main reason for buying the
Princess.
TX6. Hey,
Go ahead.
princess. My main reason for buying the TX6 would have been just to record, literally just to record my OP1 direct, no latency, no, cut out the
Mm-hmm.
middleman,
Mm-hmm.
directly into my iPad, into something like a Loopy Pro or hopefully uh, Logic Pro now,
Sure.
right?
Sure. Okay. Yep. Yep.
And so that was my main goal for the TX6. Now that we have something that I can now unplug um, from the iPad, it has more use than just
Mm-hmm.
being an interface and a
I got you.
mixer.
I got
You
you.
know what I mean? Like
You can use it for
that's
more purposes than
yeah,
when you're not in your studio, you're out and about, you just have that. You'll probably carry that thing with you almost everywhere, I would imagine.
everywhere, everywhere.
Like, right? It's
Probably
just gonna,
as much as I have my phone in my wallet,
yeah,
the
yeah,
field recorder can
yep,
do things that Of course, the OP1 field has a phenomenal microphone, but I'm not carrying
right.
that in my pocket.
No way. Yeah,
That'd have to be an intentional carry.
yeah, no doubt, Keys. Well, Brandon, I guess the other part that's quite interesting is I agree with you about the OP1 field having. I think the microphone's incredible on it, right? I think it's
Yeah,
extremely good. It works so well. And I asked a question in the Discord. There's a teenage engineering Discord. If you're on Discord or anyone else, it's open to the public. I believe. Yeah, I think it's open. It's just you can just join if you want. But I kind of go there sometimes because it's like sort of it's a great community. It's like super fans of the products, kind of like us. And
Yeah.
and yeah, someone asked one of the individuals there, who I think is a beta tester, and asked him what his thoughts were of the mic differences between the TP-7 and the OP-1 Fail. Because I was curious too. I was like, are they going to be the same mic? He said they're very, very close. From his, he doesn't know like I guess the technical specs per se, but he said just from using them, they're very, very close. He said maybe the OP-1 Field edges the TP-7's mic out a little bit.
Hmm.
So for me, it sounds like it's very like they might even be the same, right? Maybe he didn't do like exact deliberate A to B testing type of a thing.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious about that because if it's negligible or if it's the same as the OP-1 field, then we're talking about something that is really really good. Coupled with the fact, I was going to say, do you see yourself? You know, who knows if you're even thinking about what is it, the CM15, the mic, but do you see yourself potentially using the TP-7 with a better microphone at times anyway, like when you're out
So
or even when you're in the
because I
studio?
don't do a lot of the vocal or podcasty type things, I don't see myself b- unless it's a CM15 type situation. I'm not
Mm,
bringing any other microphones
gotcha. Yeah,
because you know what I mean. Like because
sure,
I have camera microphones that work as USB C.
sure.
So the redundancy is kind of to spend an extra $1,100 $1,200 on something like that would kind of
Yeah.
be a little overkill at that point.
So then your
Um,
thoughts are like even more so writing on how effective and how good. And again, I heard that it's quite good, like very good actually. But how good the TP-7's microphone is standalone, right? Because you'll be using
yeah,
that
yeah,
as a
and like I
significant
said
part.
earlier, even just using my iPhone 6 at the time was sufficient enough for me to use them in beats.
Yeah,
So and
yeah,
then the contrast between the iPhone 6's microphone or the Shure MV88 and the TP-7 or OP-1 field, the contrast between the two aren't that they aren't miles apart. It's just really
yeah.
the workflow and the convenience factor now.
Makes sense. That makes sense. All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna wrap it up so that the next time we do this, both of us, I guess, will I guess because I'm glad that it happened now. I guess I'm glad it happened to you and not me with like the phone call. 'Cause I literally got a call. I literally got a call when I was doing some content just now, and it like took me out of the moment for a minute. I was like, next time I gotta have that like the phone either not in the room or whatever. But this was dope. I'm glad we were able to have a conversation about it.
For
I'm
sure.
curious to know what others think and what others are kind of considering because I'm just like I've been thinking about it constantly, just like wanting to have one and like just use it and just hold it, and it
Yeah.
looks so ergonomic, you know.
Oh, so when I've been doing my own private vlogs and stuff too. So a lot of times, again with the Osmo Pocket, it has its own microphone. So a
Yeah,
lot of times I'm just walking around and recording myself and voice memos, you know, mental
yeah,
notes.
sure, sure,
And that's another thing. I've seen that stuff like happen in the '90s, where you're walking around and you're following the I don't know, like let's say the mad scientist who has created another some type of milestone or something, and he's recording something to himself, mental note. You know,
mm,
I'm doing the same things. I'm doing the
mm-hmm.
same things with my Osmo Pocket. So
Yeah,
if I could do that without having to record myself on camera, that would be that would be great.
mm. That's dope. And I guess I'll leave with this last thing too. So newsletters. So I think newsletters are for me like going to and kind of have been now as I'm getting back into the mix of sending them out. Just a very important component for my brand and like no algorithms. I can share what I want. It goes to everyone's email, and it's like it's something, and it's therapeutic, right? Being able to just sit down and just like send out some stuff that I know specifically people certain people like that read every one of them will read it, and that's just like it's like a good thing. So I'm very much enjoying that. Sometimes, however, I don't feel like writing.
Hmm.
And so they have a feature on there now where you could either
Oh
connect,
yeah, it
bro,
converts it to text now.
so two things. It does that,
Wow.
but also I can use something like this, like the Tula mic, which is an incredible piece of tech for folks who are looking for something like this, and a lot cheaper than the stuff that we're talking about now, cheaper in price, I should say.
Yeah.
But I can connect that to my laptop, and I can just hit the audio button and like record, like say, hey guys, no text newsletter today. I just have some things on my mind that I want to share with you, and I can like talk into this crystal clear microphone, and like it goes out, hey babe, how you doing? And it goes out to everyone via email. So like to me, it's like a little bit more of like a casual, informal podcast type thing.
Yeah.
I can just share thoughts. So to that point, and certainly I can even do what I'm about to say with just the Tula itself. Maybe I actually will start doing that in the weeks to come, just because, like, which is to say, carry that with me everywhere. And like when I have, I don't know, like if I feel inspired or I feel like there's something in that moment that I want to share versus putting a note down and then bringing it home and then like recording and
Exactly.
trying to muster up, I can do that and then just upload like an audio file. And something about that just
Or
sounds
just
very,
some
very
random B-roll that pertains to the content that you're talking about. You know, so
totally,
clip.
yeah. Exactly. And just have that stuff, and have a system that works. So that's something that I'm just I keep looking over. I'm looking at the mic. I'm like, I just use, and here's another last. I know we keep saying last bit, but like I have this Shure mic. This mic is in the studio here. I haven't used this really at all recently because like I'm saying to myself, why would I use an inferior quality mic when I have this here for like the content that I just recorded? And the
Yeah.
reason is because I don't have the necessary equipment, and maybe I should invest in like whatever interface I need to go from this to this. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so the TP-7 has the mini XLR input.
It
It has one.
does.
It
That's
has
right.
one mini XLR input. So all you need is a mini XLR to regular XLR, and you're
Right.
good.
That's it. That's exactly right. In this particular setting, that will work so smooth for
And
sure.
and this is why they're charging this in everything that you've thought of. They've thought of it.
Yeah.
This is why
Yeah,
they're
for sure.
charging the $1,600, and I understand it now. You
Yeah.
know, you get the people that have the polar like completely outraged about the price, but when you sit down and look at everything you thought you needed, they're adding these things, and then
Yeah.
when they don't ship with these things, they're adding them later in firmware updates, which a
Right.
lot of companies, you pay for the product and you get what you get until they come out with, especially like with the Apple situation, you get what you get.
Yeah.
If we want to do a firmware update that addresses your issue, then we might.
Right.
And
Right.
then if not, then just spend another $1,000 or $1,200 on the next piece of hardware.
Right. It's interesting, man. All right, we're gonna wrap. Hope you have a great rest of the day. I'm gonna hit you up very soon. We'll continue the conversation. And thanks everyone else for joining. And yeah, man, I'll catch you soon.
All right, man. Talk to you later, bro.
Peace, bro.